hit the button. I remembered. Hello, my feral friends. My name's Panthera, and I'm the Feralwood Witch. Welcome back to my channel, where we learn how to reconnect to our inner wilds through witchcraft and natural living. Today, we're going to be delving into the first Sabbat on the wheel of the year, Yule. So grab a cozy drink, get your note-taking implements of choice, and let's get to it. I'm so excited to start making videos about the Sabbats on the wheel of the year. Ever since I first started practicing witchcraft, there was just something about celebrating holidays that went with the seasons rather than the modern holidays I never really felt drawn to in the first place. It's a great way for beginners to have something to celebrate throughout their practice and also learn to work more intuitively with the seasons. For this Sabbat celebration series, we're going to be focusing more on the traditional Sabbats found on the wheel of the year. But if you find it difficult to connect to these Sabbats due to where you live or different climates in your area, then I highly recommend reading Temperance Alden's Year of the Witch. It's a book focused on working intuitively with the seasons in your particular area and building your own wheel of the year that fits to your practice. So what even is Yule? Modern Yule is the first Sabbat on the wheel of the year and is celebrated on the Winter Solstice, which falls between December 21st and 23rd. This means that the actual date of Yule will vary from year to year. The Winter Solstice itself is the longest night of the year. It's the turning point when now the nights are going to start beginning to shrink again and the days will begin to get longer, reaching their peak during the summer solstice. Many cultures all over the globe celebrated midwinter or winter solstice activities, feasting together and wishing for the sun's return to help bring an end to the cold winter months. The word Yule itself is actually derived from the Old Norse Yule, which was a heathen feast celebrated in honor of Odin and the Wild Hunt. In Old English, the celebration was known as Yule? I don't know. And many other similar festivals were held across Europe. The Romans would celebrate a week-long festival called Saturnalia, which started on December 17th. And in fact, many of the traditions that we celebrate with our modern Christmas actually come from these ancient festivals. Things such as gift giving, Christmas trees, wreaths, caroling, and mistletoe. But don't fall asleep on me yet. Don't worry, this is the last of the history for this one. We'll be deep diving into the history for those interested in other episodes. Let's get to some correspondences. Correspondences are basically traits that certain items or things lend themselves to particularly well, if that makes sense. Like, for example, both the amethyst crystal and the herb lavender are both associated with calming. So these next few categories that I'm going to list are just particularly potent to work with this time of the year. So let's start with colors. The colors that correspond with Yule are red, green, gold, blue, and silver. Crystals associated with Yule are bloodstone, garnet, ruby, diamond, emerald, and cat's eye. Animals that correspond with Yule are bears, cats, goats, deer, geese, owls, the phoenix, reindeer or caribou, depending on where you live, squirrels, ravens, and wrens. Plants, trees, and herbs that are commonly associated with Yule are evergreens, cedar, pines, yew, allspice, anise, bay, chamomile, cinnamon, clove, ginger, holly, ivy, juniper, mistletoe, nutmeg, poinsettias, rosemary, saffron, sage, wintergreen, valerian, and yarrow. Please note that some of these plants are toxic to both humans and animals, so please do your research before incorporating any of them into your workings or even into your home. Food and drink that correspond with Yule are apples, citrus, dried fruits, fruitcake, eggnog, gingerbread, hot chocolate, mulled wine, nuts, pears, pork, turkey, spiced cider, and wassail? I don't know. Tell me how to say it in the comments. various deities are also associated with Yule. I'll have them listed here on the screen. Hopefully this will save me from having to pronounce them all and make a fool of myself. So those are the correspondences for Yule. And maybe you even notice that a lot of these plants, herbs, and animals symbols are also associated with our modern Christmas. But what about some themes for magical workings? Here are some ideas for workings that are particularly strong during this Sabbath. Bonus points if you can work in some of the correspondences that we just mentioned. Yule is a particularly good time of the year to focus on themes such as creativity, happiness, hope, light, love, peace, rebirth, regeneration, strength, transformation, and working with the sun or solar magic. So what are some ways that you can celebrate Yule? Little disclaimer here first, you absolutely should not beat yourself up if you can't have a giant ritual or a feast or anything, okay? Celebrating can be as simple or as grand as you'd like, or even just have the energy for. Not celebrating doesn't make you any less of a witch or a practitioner. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. Yule traditions are typically centered around the returning of the sun and finding happiness in the darker times of the year. Winters were rough for our ancestors, who had scarce food and little warmth, so Yule was a time to be excited for warmer days to come. We see much of that symbolism still here today. First, I feel like we have to start with the Yule log. Traditionally, Yule logs were cut from oak trees and then fed to the fire over several days. But we can still take the concept of a Yule log and tweak it for more modern times. Go to your local forest and pick out a particularly good stick. Get a nice sticky boy to be able to have lots of room to decorate. Next, get your preferred flora or any other ribbons, decorations that you might want to incorporate, and decorate your log. You can also attach candles to your log if you won't be burning it in the fire. And if you have a fireplace in your home, you can actually burn the log itself on the night of the solstice. If you don't have a fireplace, you could burn it outside if you wish, or just simply light the candles on the Yule log itself. Just make sure it's in a safe place where it's not going to catch anything on fire, okay? My Yule log will be going on my altar itself, and that's where it will remain and be lit on the actual night of the solstice. One idea that I love involving Yule logs is where you actually write wishes on either pieces of paper or bay leaves and then burn them in the fires of the Yule log or the candles of the Yule log to help manifest them in the new year. I just love this idea so much. If collecting a log and burning isn't so much your thing, you could also make a Yule log cake, which is a delicious way to celebrate Yule. I've seen all kinds of different recipes, ranging from just decorated pumpkin rolls to chocolate cakes that have icing carved to look like bark. There's some that are jam filled where you ice them to look like birch bark at the end. All super, super cool. So no matter your taste preferences, I'm sure you can find one that suits your needs. Maybe we'll do a recipe video one day on this channel. Who knows? A little kitchen witchery, if you will. Maybe. Let me know if you'd like to see a video like that down in the comments. And speaking of cooking, making some holiday treats is another great way to celebrate any Sabbath. Try your hand at creating any of the before mentioned food or drink. Or if you and your family already have holiday recipes that you do during this time of the year, try incorporating some extra herbs, correspondences, and things like that in the cooking. Infuse a little kitchen witchery into your traditional family meals. All you have to do is find some correspondences and herbs that match your intent. Kitchen witchery in general is a great way to give the gift of your magic to others. If cooking isn't so much your thing, maybe decorating is. Decorating your altar is a fun activity to do every Sabbath. Try using corresponding colors, herbs, plants, symbols to incorporate them into your altar. Create a Yule-themed space to do your magical workings in during this time. If you don't have an altar to decorate, you could also just wear clothing that corresponds with Yule as well. Dress in colors that represent Yule to you and the themes that you want to embrace during this period. The Yule season's also particularly great for witchy crafts. Especially if you aren't super open about your practice yet, a lot of this can kind of slide under the radar by just being Christmas themed. For example, try making a witch ball. This is a simple, clear ornament that is then filled with items matching your intent. Traditionally, these are made for protection. However, I don't see why you couldn't do it for any purpose. Wreaths are a well-known symbol during this time of the year, and they can represent the cycle of the seasons as well as the wheel of the year as a whole. Decorate them with herbs, plants, and colored ribbons that correspond with Yule. You can also make a pentacle tree topper. Grab some good-looking sticks from your yard and shape them into the form of a star. Then just tie the ends together with twine. Pentacles symbolize both protection as well as the 4 elements plus the 5th element of spirit. Now I'm going to share with you my quick little hot chocolate recipe for Yule time. Take it over, voiceover Panthera.
Thank you, Video Panthera. So first you're going to need 12 ounces of milk, our cocoa powder, your sugar of choice, and then some extra additives if you'd like organic peppermint, and homemade vanilla extract for me, and of course a mug or vessel. You will also need a heat-safe pot. Place your milk into the pot. Milk corresponds with love and nurturing. Go ahead and turn up that heat. We want our milk to get nice and warm. I like to give it a stir on occasion as well. Now for our cocoa or chocolate, which corresponds with love and prosperity. This is the brand that I use, by the way, if you're interested. But go ahead and give that a good mix to work it in there and break up any clumps that you might have. Now for our sugar, which also corresponds with love. Give that a good mix as well so that the sugar will break down and dissolve in the warm milk. Remember that stirring clockwise is drawing things in and counterclockwise is bringing things out. We can go ahead and turn off that heat now. Our milk's nice and warm. This is when you can optionally add in any extra flavoring. I'm a vanilla fan, not much of a peppermint, so I'll be adding my homemade vanilla extract. Just a little splash. Now I'm actually stirring with my intent. You may have noticed that many of these ingredients correspond with love, happiness, a lot of the things that we saw in our magical themes of Yule. Time to pour into our mug and hopefully not make too much of a mess. And enjoy! Delicious.
And that's all for today, my friends. I hope this video gave you a brief but thorough insight into the Sabbat of Yule. I do hope to eventually cover a lot more about each Sabbat in depth, but I wanted to give you a good base to start with. Let me know in the comments what your plans for the Winter Solstice are. Also, I've created a free grimoire page all about Yule just for you. It's all about Yule and covers a lot of the important topics that we talked about today. The link, as well as the accompanying blog post, will be down in the description below. And until I see you next time, stay wild. Hair in my mouth, hair in my mouth. That's the story of my life. It's hair in my mouth. Not Winter. Let's get to some breathe. Of course, how did I say this? The cycle of the seasons during the winter. And until you the sea with